All right, good day. We're joining this crime already in progress again because it seems to be my MO. Not much happening. It's still hot in Houston, but it's a balmy 93-ish. So it's not like living in a blast furnace. We're kind of in oven territory. So it's cool enough that I can actually do a couple little things that potentially can generate some scar tissue, but we're going to do our best to try to mitigate that. So today, I alluded to it on the last video, what we're working on. I already did some carving. Let me show you here. So both the Jeeps had a rust, kind of the metal was actually torn, and I'll show you on the other side because it was the same. So, and then I got a nice one there. Nothing else really along here. It's pretty clean. But this I fixed it last year. You can see the black paint around it. It wasn't too bad, and what it is, I hit it with the grinder, took the rust all off, and then put some rust converter on it, and then sprayed it with just some black spray paint, and then left it like that. And it was good for about 6 months, 8 months. This was the other side that I did, and you can see the black paint outline. So I did the same thing here, ground it down, and then hit it. But obviously, you know, I might have went too far, and I got into the metal and went through, because what happened was water obviously got in there, and it just rusted from underneath and blew it all out. So I got another little rust spot there and there, but the rest of the fender is pretty clean. So what I want to do today is clean this up. Now, there's a couple different ways that we could do this. One is to replace the whole fenders. They're relatively cheap. I think when I bought the one for Tanya's rig, it was like about $40-ish, give or take. Primered, ready to go. So, you know, call it $500 with all the paint and everything to get it to match. I could do that. We could, now that I've got it cut out, I got some scraps of sheet metal. We could cut it, and I do have the metal glue, the little welding machine over there that we could do it. Or, because it's so small, and you can tell this Jeep isn't going into a car show anytime soon, I'm going to do what I did on the blue Jeep. I'm going to hit it with some fiberglass. I bought this sheet, and I used this to fix the blue Jeep, and it worked really good. I did videotape that effort, but I didn't close out the video, and it was kind of piecemealed, so I never released it. You saw the finished product when I showed the Jeep to Mama Jane. But I'm going to walk you through kind of what I did in the steps to get there. This isn't as bad, so I'm hoping this one's going to turn out a bit better. And I do have paint. So I bought this off of Amazon. I didn't go to the paint store because this is a factory color. And what I did is, on the door card, I'll show you here. If you ever want to know what your factory paint color is, there's a couple ways you can do it. One, you can pull the spec sheet right off of the FCA website. There's a link, I think I put it in other videos, and if I remember, I'll put it in the description of this video. You can put in your VIN, and it'll tell you the color that it was. But if you want to know the code, it gets even better. In your sticker here, right there, paint, it says PX8. Kind of get in there close. This is PX8. So that's actually the factory color. And if you put that into your favorite search browser thingy, whatever you use, PX8 comes in a can. So on Amazon, it comes actually as a kit. So I bought the PX8 with the clear coat that goes with it. I definitely should have enough to paint this little spot. So that's on the agenda, and that will work, I hope. As long as it kind of matches the black, whatever. And then we'll I'll walk you through what I'm going to do there. I'm probably going to scuff up the whole thing and just paint the whole top part once I get to that spot. But let's work on the fiberglass, because I'm noticing it's bubbled up. So in here, you're probably, when I pulled you in close, you could see it. There's actually some foam in here. This is soft. So this stuff was actually holding water and and then rusting from underneath. So what I did is I cut it back and got to good metal all the way around. So I'm hoping that the rust is all gone. So I think what I'm going to do while I'm here is I'm going to hit this, see if I can get this cleaned up. And I don't know if I'll fiberglass that or if I'll just cram some body filler in there. It's probably not going to be that big. And plus it's underneath where the hood goes. So yeah, and we'll just body fill that. So we mount you back up, move you over, get you in close. And today is a special day. I'm going to do another camera angle just because it adds a bit of flavor. Okay, let's see if we can get cracking on this. I think I'm almost ready to put fiberglass in that. Grab my glasses. Oh yeah, I barely touched it and it just flew apart. Let me grab a different wheel. I don't have any more good flap discs. They're all spent. Ooh, that rust is deep. I got the other side pretty much almost cleaned up. Just got that little bit to do on the inside, but I want to use the skid cutting wheel to get into this. Now I did drop the fender. There's one screw left in it because I can't, it's a Phillips and it's all rusted out and I don't want to deal with that. So the reason why I dropped the fender on this side is because the rust actually got down around the bend, which I was hoping to catch before that happened, but here we are. So I got quite a bit of, it's actually down in here too. So maybe while we're in here, we'll grind it here. I'll show you. Maybe we'll grind that face off too and clean up that rust. Just while I'm here, hit it with the flat disc. So let's see if we can carve into this here. Oh, that rust is deep and it's bad. Okay, let me find a prying tool. Oh, that's all rusted. Yeah, that's that. I got into it. This side is a lot worse than the other side. The rust was pretty deep. And and I'm not going to be able to get all of it out without obviously getting a Sawzall out or whatever. So this is the nice part about using something like fiberglass, because fiberglass isn't going to rust, right? So in theory, if I put fiberglass over this, it's going to protect the top, but the bottom is still going to fall out and it'll eventually spread all the way down. But I'm hoping that's going to last a few years. Well, a lot of years. This side, the rust was already coming down the lip, so I took off as much of that as I can. Now this is obviously covered by fender. You can see where the fender line is, so it comes right up. Now the bad part about this is exactly that. I'm over the corner. I did it on the blue Jeep, but it was a bear. What I ended up doing is putting a piece of metal in here to create a flat, and then I wrapped the fiberglass around it and kind of cheated. And I think I'm going to be in that kind of situation here. So I'm going to preemptively cut some more of this out to make room for that piece of flat metal that's going to inevitably slide in there, so that I can create a nice rounded corner. Oh, uh-oh. Okay, I got into this about as much as I'm comfortable with. As I was trying to pry to make room to put a ridge piece in here, obviously I pushed more rust out of the way. So I don't want to take off any more than that, because I'm going to start losing meat to be able for the fiberglass to stick to. So I think what I'm going to do is hit this with some rust converter, top and bottom, and give this thing a little bit of a fighting chance to survive a bit longer. I'm not worrying about overspray right now, because we're going to clean that up anyway. I'll come back when this is dry, and then we'll start on the fiberglass. I hit the other side too, just as a whatever measure. We'll see if this works. Okay, this next part's going to kind of go quick, so I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing before I get to the resin, because as soon as I do that, it's going to harden fast. So here's what I did. I cleaned this all up. I put some paint in there, some rust converter. I sprayed it from the bottom too to try and give it a fighting chance. I cleaned out some more rust out of the bottom there, and cut this piece and obviously fitted to match. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. If it overlaps a little bit, that's fine. This side's better because I didn't cut into the corner. So this one should just lay in nice. I probably should be able to just do this and maybe one more layer, and then this side's done. But this side is going to be a little more cumbersome. So because the corner is gone, I actually cut this piece of flat metal. It was some bar stock that I had. And all I'm using that for is to create an edge right here, so that I can drape the fiberglass over it and make it, at least somewhat rounded. That's the idea. So this will just obviously fit in here. And then what I'll do is I'll just push it over a little bit. And then the next layer, I'll sand it off and get it kind of shaped. And then the next layer that goes over it, I'll do it a little bit more. And then by the end of it, it should be pretty decent. So that's the objective. So I'm going to start this camera over here, so that I don't waste time moving cameras, and we'll see if we can make this happen. Okay, let's mix up our fiberglass. I don't need a whole bunch. I'm going to put some gloves on first though. The reason why I chose fiberglass is I worked with it from a pretty young age, so I got experience with it. Whereas welding, I'm not there. I've only welded a few times and only stick. I've never really used these fancy all-in-one little flux core welders. So I'm still kind of learning that, and I don't really want to do it on something that shows, if you know what I mean. So let's get this in. Again, don't need very much. Just enough to resin up to. Put some hardener in there. One more for good measure. Last time I did it, I didn't harden it up enough, and it was a disaster. Where are my stir sticks? Oh, great. Didn't think this through. Yeah, let's stir that up a little bit, make sure the hardener gets in there. All right. We'll resin this guy up. Get it all nice and goopy. And then we should just be able to plop it in there. Kind of like so. Again, not really worried about the mess because we're going to clean that up after. And then this side, same thing. Hopefully I got enough in here. Doesn't look like I do. Great. Well, maybe if I squeeze it up just a little bit. Yeah, I'll take that and just set it in. Something like that. Now there's going to be air under there. I'll just try and push that down and get all the air out of it I can. Okay, so we'll push all this air out and see if that's going to stick. You know what, I'm going to leave that air in there because that's going to be just fine. Okay, check the other side. Make sure it's all in there. Okay, so I did get some resin down in there, but it's, again, not a big deal. I'll clean that out, maybe, probably not. No, I won't. Okay, this is all good. I'm done for now. Made a little bit of a mess there onto the fender, but again, I'm not really worried about it. It's a Jeep. So the other side's all good. I'm gonna power everything down for tonight. It's starting to rain. So yeah, I'll pick it up when I do the next layer, and then we'll get into sanding. And I think another layer is gonna be enough for all of it. Maybe on that side, I'll maybe do 3. And then we'll just clean it all up, sand it, and paint it. So yeah, I'll catch you in a bit. All right, welcome back. So another day in the trenches. I worked on it a little bit last night after I turned the cameras off. So let me show you kind of what we're up against here. So I can't get the bottom bolts out of this fender. They're rusted and stuck. So I'm not going to fight it. I was hoping to do this without, but as you can see, I made kind of a little mess around this edge here. So I'm going to get in here and kind of sand this and clean it up and hit it with some paint, and then I can put the fender back on. There's no rust or anything down in there, so I'm not really overly concerned. I did put another layer of fiberglass in here last night, and then I just hit it with some 120 grit sandpaper and just cleaned it up. You know, looking down the edge, it's not the greatest. It's definitely got some low spots and some high spots. I think there's some buildup underneath here that's heaving the metal up. And short of cutting all this out, that's still really good metal, and I think it's going to last me for a while. So I'm not even gonna stress about it. It kind of is what it is. But I got that all leveled out pretty good. I think I'm ready to just kind of skim this with some filler now. I did spray some rust converter in here, and it looks like it cleaned up pretty nice. So I'm just gonna kind of sand this down, get it prepped, and then put some body filler in there and just let that go. So I think this side's pretty much ready to get finished. All right, let's have a look at the other side. So I ended up laying a second piece over top, and then obviously I was trying to round off this corner with that metal piece that's underneath, and I think I got it kind of close. I'll have to sand this and get it a little flush. And then with that metal bar, it raised it up, so I think I got to put another thin piece right in here just to even it up, and then that should give me, you know, that 1/16 of an inch to mud fill. I don't really want to go much more than an eighth of an inch on the mud. That's just, I'm not a body guy, as you all know. It's a hobby. I'm not a mechanic or a technician either. It's a hobby. So that's just kind of what I go by. And I'm sure body experts can weigh in, but you know, it's not going to a car show, so I think that 1/16 of an inch is going to be just fine. So that side's ready to mud. This side, I'm going to put another piece of fiberglass on here and then get it ready to shape, and then away we go. So let's keep cruising. Okay, that's enough procrastinating, because that seems to be the motto lately. Probably make more sense to cut this off of. Oh, my light's dying. Fantastic. So this piece doesn't have to be very big. Oops, cut that a little short. Not the end of the world. We'll just put that in like that. Okay. Let's mix a little bit of resin. Holy, I'm butterfingers today. What is happening? I think maybe that's my cue to pack it in. Oh, I think that's permanently attached. Oh, it's so quiet around here. Our one set of neighbors with the set of kids moved out, and I tell you, as loud as kids can be some days, it's like, where is everybody? And of course, now that summer's gone and everybody's back to school, I noticed one of my neighbors just left to go pick up her kids, so you know, there's that. Okay. I'm just going to plop this in here just to fill that last little gap. I usually do fiberglass like one layer at a time, but you know, if you got the hardener in there right and everything, it all should crust up pretty good. Okay. So now that that's in, we'll leave it. No touching. Now this is always a challenge, without getting this resin everywhere. There we go, done. Okay, now I got this side all kind of cleaned up. I think we're ready. I just hit it with some 409, which is like a degreaser. I'm gonna sand it now with just some like 400 grit or 320, whatever I have there, just to scuff it. And Now a mask line. So I've made this mistake in the past. I tried to get it to a lip and then I taped it and then I painted and I had this stupid lip thing that I couldn't get rid of. And so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna and it is what it is kind of scenario. Is it the right way? Nope, probably not, but it's my way. So let's see what I got. I think I got a bunch on the roll here. What's this? This looks gritty. 320. This will work just nicely. Get a little sanding block. I'll put that back away. I bought these sanding blocks when I did Tanya's Jeep with the sticky paper. And I gotta tell you, I kind of like this stuff. I got 320, 600, and 800, I think. So a nice decent range to kind of do everything that we need to do. So I'm just gonna use some 320 and just kind of scuff this up a little bit, give the paint something to adhere to. I'm gonna try and pick a line here to go to. Even though I'm not going to mask it, just something that's kind of out of sight. Now here, I need to get down in here. I got to repaint this because I kind of buggered it. So again, we're just going to go to a spot here. I think I might just go all the way to the end. I think that'll be just fine. Something like that. Just something to give the paint something to stick to. Okay. I went a little deep there with the cutting wheel. I think I ended up going right. No, I didn't. I thought I went right through, but just gonna scuff up this edge a little bit better. I know. I said it on the last video when I did this. The painters, the professional guys, are, yeah, what are you doing? But we're not looking for showroom. We're looking for function over form. Seems to be the channel mantra lately. Okay, let's chuck some mud down as soon as I get some. Okay. This got the hardener. Need something to spread on. Yeah, I don't need a whole bunch of this. Okay, I'm using a little bit smaller paddle than I normally would because I just simply misplaced the paddle that I had. So, good thing they come in threes. So I didn't mix a whole bunch because, well, honestly, I don't care if I waste it because I'm not going to be doing this a whole bunch. But make sure I got that hardener all mixed in. So I'm going to go a little thick just because I can sand whatever I don't need. I know, you know, a lot of the experienced guys will just kind of skim it down to like a little sandable layer, but I don't really care how much I sand off, to be honest. That's not the end goal here. I'll sand this whole thing off and start again if I really need to, but I'm going to try not to, because that takes a lot of time. So I'll just put some light pressure on it. See if I can clean it up just a little bit. And boom. That's it. Now I got a decent edge there, but I'm just going to sand that off. So the goal here was just to try and make it flat. And I almost missed my important part. I'm just going to stuff a bunch. This obviously is a pretty deep hole. But again, I'm just trying to make it a little less noticeable, I think is the end goal for that. So I'm just going to pack a bunch of filler in that. And again, I don't really care. The hood covers that part, so it's not the end of the world. That's basically it. That's all I'm going to do. Not a body guy. You guys know this. Okay. That's all I can do for now. So I got to wait for that to dry, and I got to wait for this to dry. This shouldn't take very long. This is kind of like a 20-minute thing. And then I'll clean this up. I might actually throw a coat of paint on these fenders too. They're pretty sun faded. Get rid of this no step stuff. I was on it when I bought the Jeep. Kind of corny, but whatever. So that's where we're at. Let's wait. Okay, it's been about 45 minutes since I did this here. It's a little still soft in the middle, but I think I can kind of trim these edges up, get rid of some of this excess fiberglass just with a utility knife here. If not, we'll figure out something else, but should just be able to trim away these kind of rough edges. I hope. Whatever I don't get trimmed away, we'll hit with some sandpaper or a power sander. It's easier if you do it between layers, which I didn't do. So that's on me. Okay, let me get the sander. Okay, so let's see if I can bring you in a little closer here. Which camera to use? Let's use this one. So you've kind of been watching me work it. Let me make sure this is on and good. So you've been seeing me work it. Obviously there's some space in here, which again is fine. Obviously that fiberglass was still a little soft when I hit it, but that's okay. I cleaned up, I put some 80 grit on and just kind of cleaned up this edge. Now if you look, the roundness is meh at best, but I'm hoping once I skim it and then skim it, I can, you know, shape that corner with some body filler and get it a little rounder. So, I mean, it's definitely strong with the fiberglass in there again. So I think for the sake of what we're doing, I think it's going to serve the purpose just fine, honestly. So let's go see how the Bondo is on the other side, and then I'll come and do this side. And then maybe later tonight, I'll come back and hit it with some paint. Okay, let's keep progressing. Oh, it's starting to harden already. Well, at this point, it's just going to take what I get. Crap. Yeah, Yeah, that hardened way too fast. I did the initial coat, and I think it's important to show the mistakes as much as it is the end product, because this whole thing is a mistake, if I'm being honest. But when I mixed the Bondo, I put too much hardener in, and it hardened really fast, to the point where when I was trying to level it out, it started to ball up, and so I basically just had to stop and then sand it all down and see what I was left with. So I got a few little pits, but I do have a low spot here and a high spot here, so I have to fill this in. But you can see I shaped that round corner, and I got it pretty good, I think. You know, looking at the different, there's a little dent there because it's high here and low here, so I think I might be able to feather that a little bit more. Obviously another skim coat on top, but when you put the fender on, I think it's gonna be all right once I skim that and sand it down and paint it. I think it's gonna be just fine. So I'm gonna mix up another batch, I'm gonna skim it, and then I'll sand it, and then I'll catch up to you when I'm ready to start painting. I didn't put enough hardener in the other side because it's still ticky. Sure, we'll go with that, but let's keep cracking. All right, we're back. It's another day, and it's still hot because it's hot. So let me bring you up to speed. I did a bunch of stuff last night, because it was bugging me, and I wouldn't have been able to go to bed and get a good night's sleep. So I came back out and I did a couple little things just to make me feel better. So let me show you. So I hit it with, I obviously sanded it, I re-skimmed it, I sanded it down again, and then I hit it with a coat of primer. Kind of, you can see where I did in just this area. And, you know, I had some flaws. I know there's a couple rough edges there. You know, there's a low spot right there. There's a few little, you know, whatever. So I didn't want to remud it, so I just hit it with some 600 grit and just kind of knocked off some of the bigger stuff. And then I primed it again, and this time went all the way out to my line and the whole thing. And I think this side, I'm ready for paint. At this point, it kind of is what it is. So I'm going to address this because a lot of people are probably going to hate on me for this, but typically you'd take this off, take the signal light out, and just do this all the way down to the front just to give it kind of a blend. But that's a lot of work, and I'm not going to do that. Again, is it the right way? Nope, not even close. Is it a way? Yep. And it's a way that I'm going to do it. Obviously any of this overspray, anything that I didn't sand, when this goes through a pressure wash, or that it never does, that'll eventually flake off. And I might have some paint peeling, but I'll address it if it does that. I'm kind of to the point where I'm just going to do stuff and I'll just deal with it. So I did the same thing here. You can kind of see my sand line. I primed up to it. This one, I showed you the big mistake I made. So I actually re-skimmed it. And, you know, again, I got some little spots. I cleaned up this edge. There's a little bulge right here that I could probably sand down, but I don't want to go into it too far. So it's a little kind of wonky, but when I put the fender on and suck it up to it, it's all black. So you're really not going to notice. You know, my resin spot that I had, I got that kind of in there. So again, I re-primed it all the way to where I'm going to paint. So everything is wiped down and degreased at this point. So I think what we're going to do now is let's paint it and see what happens. If this all falls apart, I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to leave it because I'm over it. So let's shake this up real good. This is again the PX9, PX8 paint match that I got off of Amazon. Tanya's going to come out and supervise my work because she's leaving. Drive careful. Love you. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm doing my most favorite thing in the whole wide world.
It is my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
Yep. Nope. Because I don't want you to get blamed from the shoddy workmanship. Okay. I'll shake it up a bit more. All right, let's just paint the garage black first. Let's see what this does here. It's got a nice fan to it, I will say. Almost too much of a fan. Holy. I'm not going to worry about down here too much because the fender covers that. But let's give it a good college try anyway. We got to make sure we put a run in it so that everybody knows that I painted this. Oh, something dripped. Oh, it shot a goober. Oh. Dang it. Shot a big goober on there. I'm gonna do a couple coats of the color anyway, so even if this isn't great, we'll re-hit it. I think that's close enough. Whatever. If there's a ridge there, there's a ridge there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good though. Laid pretty nice. Okay, let's go do the other side. I think this edge is going to be really goofy now that I'm looking at it, but I'm not fixing it now. Oh, got a little, nope. It's actually not bad. I might just paint the whole Jeep like this if this works. Yeah, let me go grab a light and I'll show you up close here. Here you go, artisan craftsmanship at its best. There was the big goober that it spewed. So this paint almost looks like it's got a blue tinge in it. Oh, paint's a little thin there. I'll hit it with a second coat. I still got to clear it too, so I think it's going to be just fine. Good enough for the things we're doing. You know, I may end up doing this. I think that might be a little goofy where that seam is. Got a little thin spot there. Got some cleanup to do there. But I think the second coat. But you can see obviously where the rust was. It's gone. All right, everyone. Good morning. Need to close out this video. I finished this all up yesterday. Got the paint all laid down. You know, it shaped up really good. This edge turned out just awesome compared to what it was. So no big rust. The paint laid not that great. The shape and everything went good. I got a few little, you know, uneven spots, but this paint kit that I got from Amazon just did not work really at all. When it came out of the nozzle, I tried a bunch of different things, cleaning it and stuff, and it came out almost too aerosol. It created some thin spots, and you can kind of see it if the light's right. You can kind of see it was just a little bit thin.
I tried to even it out, but it was just making it worse or not really helping. So I'm just going to leave it for now. You know, maybe down the road, if I start rusting again, I'll clean it up differently, or maybe put new fenders on. We'll see how it goes. All right, but that's going to do it for this one. I do have one more little task. Tanya came home and her rig was kind of chattering a little bit, more than a bunch of old women at bingo. And looking at it, I'll show you when we get to that thing. The tensioner is just not tensioning. So that's the next little job I'm going to knock out. But in order to do that, I have to dig out a couple of tools that we already packed, because we are moving here in the next week and a bit. So the content's going to be a little bit sparse, probably. But we'll see how things go. All right, everyone. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.